Hello, and welcome back to Cabincast does world building. More Cacastia building slash
Ooh.
welcome back to Revolution Games, where we'll have the video stuff going on as well. We are back with more of this. We're on a new tile now, completely. Still on the first ring. This is tile 9. So last time we were doing tile 8, which was our first extension out from the very first tile we did, which was by the gatehouse tile 3. We did the lower one, which is the large settlement of Opportuna, and now we're going up into where there might be a smaller settlement. We haven't quite figured that out yet.
Mine.
Yes. So Tom is laying some of the groundwork quickly because we are aware that there is a that was
A
something.
few things. That
Yeah.
was water. It's not supposed to be there.
We know that we've got a couple of roads coming in and a couple of places, so we're going to place them in first before we get
Yes.
started.
So
the
I suppose
tiles
the
themselves.
first question is, where do you want the mine? And that mine will have to probably have a settlement by it, because
Indeed.
workers are going to need to live.
Mhm.
I was sort of maybe thinking, because Opportuna is in like 7, 12, and
Yeah.
11. I was thinking either we have it further away in like 8,
Quite far away, yeah, I think so.
8 or 4 or 9, this sort of area around here.
Yeah, let's go with 8, I think.
Okay,
The mine itself at least can be an 8.
so let's find some mine entrances,
Mm.
and we can do that by finding. There is a Here we go. So we've got a couple of mine entrances.
There we go.
So we'll have those together and mirror that there. Then have some rocks, make it look like it's sort of like a piled up, dug up area.
Mhm. And then shift it all over to tile 8.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Whoop. There we are.
Yep. I need more rocks. Needs more.
More rocks are required. So yeah, tile 9 we did a lot of forests. Some of them are probably gonna blend into the bottom half of this map as well. Tiles 3 and 4 had what looked like probably a continuing forest or woods above them. So 21, 22, 23 might have more of the woods down there. But it'll be interesting to see if we continue with that theme here or if we actually wind up with just kind of some more grassland, and what else we kind of have in this area.
Yeah, so 8 is where the mine is at, and I think we have the town possibly in the same area.
Yeah.
So we'll get a couple there. Okay. Now there's a few other things as well. I think from tile 14 we're gonna have the Biddlesbrook, although I think it's probably gonna take on a new name. I think the Biddlesbrook is gonna join a larger river, potentially coming through.
Yep.
And we have our river, and then the next thing that we need is the paths.
Yeah.
Which are going to be standard black, because these are both paved paths, and we have one coming in from and we'll mess around with other ones a little bit later.
Yeah.
We need a bridge first, just so we have what we already know we need.
Exactly. Well, I'll add in these descriptions later as we get to them in proper, but
yeah,
good
so
to get this stuff out of the way first.
Bridge is coloured, and this might be a slight issue because we need to find a bridge that goes straight, and I don't have one.
Oh no!
It's That's annoying.
What are the odds of that?
Hang on, I might be able to do something funky with the rotation.
We will see. We will see.
Sideways bridge.
Sideways bridge. I mean, it'll work for now. I'm sure we can amend it later. For now, it's just a placeholder so we know there's a bridge here.
I mean, the other way of doing it would just be to have like a ford there.
True.
We are now beginning to get away from civilization, and the
Mm-hmm.
majority of traffic down there is going to be. No, they would kind of want a bridge. Although, in
We've got a
saying
lot
that,
of carts and stuff, so
yeah, there'd be a lot of weight. So
yeah.
you'd almost want one of the stone bridges.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Really, you'd want one of those. Okay, I'm gonna mess around with the path some more. If you want to get started with the
With number one.
with number one.
Tile number one. So, if I have just cobbled this together with the end of the last one, this is going to be a bit of a repeat, but to remind you, we're using the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered GM Core book to do the hexploration stuff. To an extent, we are tweaking it here and there because not everything makes sense. We had Desert Tile for 22 last time, which we have updated a little bit to being some kind of mysterious, everything's dying, why is everything dying kind of tile instead of it being an actual desert. We are getting further away from civilization, so, a couple more of these things may come into play now. Still probably not desert or Arctic as such, but we can potentially get a little bit more mountainous towards the top regions if we so wish. We shall have to see. But we're going to start rolling the dice and see what we get. We get a number 4. And a 4 is freaking desert again. Now, this is for tile 1. So, obviously, we kind of a proper desert. Could we have it leading into some kind of, like, Badlands, though, maybe?
Possibly.
Something where the ground is starting to become less green and more kind of clay, maybe more dusty. So the associated vegetation is changing a bit. Because as great as this exploration stuff is, it is very simplistic. There's like 8 options, and they are quite generic. You've got forest, mountain, desert. There's a lot more terrain types than just the kind of large ballpark ones that it's giving you. Um, so you might have to look into something like that. But is there anything in this tile, no matter what it is? Let's have a see. That is a 17. So no, it is a generic tile for number 1. We've timed that reasonably well because Tom is
A
just a
generic tile, and what we're saying, it's maybe like a lead into sort of a more, almost sort of like an arid. Oh, there's a
That's
type
the
of biome.
word.
There's a type of biome, sort of like a cold, arid sort of area.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a color that would make more sense for that? I think we'll
Cold
leave the
arid
color as it.
probably makes more sense than warm arid, to be fair. So
Yeah,
yeah.
probably best leaving it as it is in terms of the color, but we'll put maybe a few hills.
Yeah.
There, because you tend to get more sort of like hilly terrain
Mm.
over there. So that's sort of a more sort of windswept. There's not too much growth, and what growth there is, it's like grasses, low nutritious stuff.
Yeah.
You've probably got, depending on on the creatures in Pathfinder, if you wanted to go with something, you could go with like a mammoth step. That might be interesting.
You're gonna have to refresh me on what that is. It sounds vaguely familiar, but
So during the Ice Age, mammoths,
yeah.
like elephants, were a keystone species that changed the environment behind them. So, like elephants are a keystone species for savannas and making
Mm-hmm.
savannas the way they are. Mammoths made the mammoth steppe the way they were by specifically feeding on the types of grasses that were in there
Yeah,
and
we could do a
trampling down
steps, of
trees.
course. I see. So I heard the
That's
thing all together and kind of heard marmoset and was a bit confused.
yeah. Basically, when I think cold arid, that is basically steppes.
Yeah,
And
steps works.
and what I am basically suggesting is mammoth.
Zombie mammoths, eh?
Wait, zombie mammoths? That might be cool if we
Zombie
find a
mammoth,
space
a
with.
burning mammoth. All sorts
Also, I've
of.
got a dog that's screaming at me, so let me go see what that's about.
I'll let him do that. But yeah, mammoths. Damn, level 10. I mean, absolutely, they're freaking huge. But so you've got mastodon, you've got elephants, then Anancus, which is an ancient species of elephant with unusually long tusks and a trunk shorter than modern cousins. Then you've got the mastodon, which is smaller than the larger mammoth, though I love the name of it, to be fair. Mastodon, it sounds really cool.
Dogs are cool.
But they're more temperate in climate. And then you've got the mammoths themselves. So yes, let's make a
That's
note of it, shall we?
I started a a thing by leaving it on the evolution of various elephantids there.
Yeah. They're very
There are
interesting.
a lot of cool elephantids, although many
Yeah,
of them are unfortunately gone.
very
Also,
much gone. Mm-hmm.
entertaining to think that mammoths are more closely related to Asian elephants than Asian elephants are to African elephants.
Yeah, that's evolution's crazy.
Paleologs.
So yeah,
You know the what are they called in Lord of the Rings?
the Oliphants.
The Oliphants. They're like based off. They have like the four tusks, don't they?
Yes.
So they're based off like Gomphotheres, Stegodonts, but with like the size of the straight-tusked elephant, because
Mm-hmm.
the largest species of Paleoloxodon was maybe possibly the largest mammal that has ever lived.
Wow.
He was a big boy.
Big. Yeah, so on that note of Oliphants, though, perhaps there are some kind of herd, tribal group of mammoth riders as well, who you probably don't get here, but there's potentially traces of their travels, their hunts or things like that. I did listen to a game once, it was the Provokers, I think, where they had a group of like centaurs who lived on the steppes, which makes quite a lot of sense. That's pretty cool. Sort of do something a little bit different to that, but no, having kind of a herd of mammoth riding herd individuals could be interesting.
Probably also worth figuring out which species are immigrants and which species are natives.
Absolutely, we need to work that out.
Like, I would assume that there's probably going to be both native and non-native humans, because that tends to be the case regardless, because humans tend to be the most common in fantasy realms, although not necessarily.
They sure do. I'm not honestly quite sure yet. There's definitely lots of humans out here now. Yeah, I mean, no, I think they probably. Yeah, I think it's probably maybe humans weren't native to this, place originally, but even before the wall kind of got rebuilt and everything, people who were looking for new life came out here because that's what people are going to. So there's gonna be humans, like some of the like bandit tribes may be like generational. There might be some nomadic tribes a bit further out, more isolated. The Watchers, for we know, might be, humans potentially.
I was thinking sort of more towards tile 11, but probably more in the second ring,
Mhm,
doing
mhm.
something based on Irish / the Welsh sagas.
Yeah.
And various sort of myths and kings from there, because they're very interesting. There's a channel, something Britannicum. Shout out to them when I find their name.
Esoterica Botanica?
No.
I'm not sure there's even a thing, but
But they do pretty much exclusive context on Welsh history, and it's incredibly interesting, and I'm probably going to take lots of inspiration if we do that from there. If I just type in Welsh history, it should
come up. One would hope.
There you go, Cambrian Chronicles.
Cambrian Chronicles.
Sorry, I say
This is your daily
Cambrian.
reminder that Tom can't speak.
No, it's
And
because
that's
of the
okay.
Cambrian period, because that's the way that's
Yes, I know.
Or you can pronounce it the Cambrian period. It's an American thing. Whatever.
Americanization.
But yeah, no, they've got stuff like Dovets there, and that is how that's pronounced. Because
Yes,
the video
that
taught
is.
me how to pronounce it. And Gwyneth and various other ones. So do something on that, and then throw maybe some Irish stuff in there. Although the Irish are a bit more tribal, at least at the time that we're taking inspiration from. So
Some
perhaps
inspiration
like
from us,
a more organised Welsh, and then the further away you get, it sort of transitions into a more tribal.
Yeah.
Variants. But yeah, no, that's a possible thing we could do.
Indeed it is. So we've got tile 1 sorted, which is kind of just prepping for even further afield in tile what would that be, like tile 3, potentially
That
in
would
4.
be so tile 9. That's entering into the second area, but it will be
Second
tile,
area. So a bit of tile 10 maybe.
bit of tile 10, but that's more sort of going to be there, which makes sense, because if we are facing off against zombie mammoth and or mammoth riders, they're probably going to be fairly tough.
Yeah, no, mammoths themselves are level 10, so
Yeah, so if
not early game. But again, maybe they're not hostile. They're just chill, and as long as you're chill.
1% chance of hostile mammoth spawning.
Yeah, that would be concerning. But there we go. So that's tile number 1 sorted. Let's have a look now.
Certainly are going to be chill, with the exception of males in that region.
Very good point. Very good point.
Tile 2.
Tile 2. We roll a 10.
Whoa.
Which is Forest.
Hey.
It's our old favourite. He's back.
I'm going to do this in a certain way. One, because it's slightly colder up here, I'm going to use evergreens.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that.
And 2, I'm going to make it a bit more open to sort of imply that mammoths range into tile 2.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you have the possibility in tile 2 of coming across a mammoth, like you do in tile 1. But it's potentially less common because they're less likely to be in there. But what will be more common in tile 2 is mastodons, because they specifically liked trees and vegetation. And they will be generally on their own, I believe.
Yeah. From what I vaguely know about mastodons.
They are cool, mastodons. There is many species of mastodons.
There are. Now, one thing we may also dive into a little bit with some of this stuff potentially further on is the planar side of of Pathfinder because there are a bunch of them, and one of them is the what's it called?
We will have just the occasional deciduous tree in there as well.
Nice.
So I think that looks nice, and taking inspiration a little bit from the Goodwood Estate, where the trees are mostly beech and conifer,
Yeah.
which is a thing that I surveyed recently.
Nice. Very cool. I'm gonna find the thing I'm looking for in the book because it's gonna help.
I think that's pretty decent. I like that. I like that design very much. Look at
That
that.
looks nice. Yeah, absolutely. Like the mix of colours. That's very cool.
Probably my favourite forest so far. It's got the most visual interest going on there.
Absolutely. The others work. But yeah, so there is a plane called where is it? It's not there. There's a lot of planes in Pathfinder. There's a lot of planes. And you've got overlapping planes, you've got inner planes and outer planes and all that kind of stuff. But there is a plane called the First World, which was like a first draft of the universe, crafted by divinities to test the metaphorical materials and palettes of colours before setting it aside to create a second final version, but it still exists. And this is the kind of place where you'll find more intense versions of the mundane world, but also potentially things like could be like great beasts, things like that. So potentially there's also some kind of portal to there, which is where these mammoths and things have potentially
Are they
originally come from.
are they in the original world? Are they?
Maybe, I'm not sure. This is all still theory.
Just
Because
creating
that's
a very, very small sort of rocky area up the top here.
mhm.
I guess it would mostly be classified in tile 8 and tile 3 with a little bit in tile 4. But if I
Mhm.
go to land, what I'll do is in the painting thing, I'll create a sort of like grey colour.
Yeah.
That is as close a colour match to the rocks as possible.
Mhm.
And then we should be able to that's a bit off. Needs to be a bit lighter. There we go, that works pretty well. So almost sort of like small mountain area.
Indeed. We did need to check if there was anything else in tile 2 because
We
we
did,
didn't.
yes.
So that is a 7, which I have a feeling does mean something. I did close the book for some reason, so I need to reopen it, but it's come to this page a lot. A resource.
A resource.
Tree.
Trees exist.
Trees exist. Could be a very special
Possibly,
type of tree, maybe, or something.
possibly one of the evidences that you could implement for these mammoth tribes.
Mm-hmm.
There might be several berries in those trees, so it might be possible that the mammoth tribes occasionally come down here to pick those berries
Mm-hmm.
for food and whatnot.
Indeed. Some trees carry berries that the mammoths and mastodons like to eat? Hence why they.
I'm liking that rocky area up the top of 8 there that I've
Yeah,
made.
it's nice. It's very cool. These berries are thusly quite rare, which is a shame as they
I'll taste it.
contain alchemical properties. What those are, I don't know yet. But that's why people often want them. Okay, awesome. That is tile number 2. So tile 3, obviously we've started working on a little bit, but what else do we have to go on? A natural 20, which is just match previous hex.
Trees!
And so we've
More
got trees
trees.
blowing into
More trees.
the rocks.
Trees flowing into rocks, so I will continue what we were doing there and sort of
Mhm.
have them go up onto this plateau and then into this sort of rock field of minerals.
Yeah.
This is also originated from there, which provides a natural buffer against the mammoths for the town.
It does. There we go. Your voice glitched out there for a moment, but we got the impression in the end.
It's okay, my voice likes to glitch out quite a bit.
Mhm.
Forest Stone is going to have like a mystical, enchanted feel.
Yeah.
It's untouched or very untouched when compared to many of the other forests that you would have
Yes.
encountered beforehand.
Indeed. Well, again, it is a woods more so than a forest.
True.
So yeah, we need to come up with a good name for this. Rocky. What do you call that structure of the rocks around the back of the mine entrances?
So it's a plateau,
That's the
a
word.
small plateau, with like a more rocky, sort of almost crumbly cliff face on one side and a more solid cliff
Mhm.
face with trees on the other.
Yep.
Again, we're sort of creating the implication of little pathways where mammoths, and more often mastodons in this
Yeah.
area, will have pushed their way through.
Indeed.
And we'll have some trees up the top. But at least by the rocky area, there won't be many animals up there because, particularly for
Mhm.
like big animals, big mammals, that's a dangerous place to be.
Yes. We roll a 3 on what's in this tile, which means that there is some kind of landmark,
The plateau.
which is the plateau. Does the plateau have a name? Do the woods have a name?
The woods will have a name, and the plateau will also probably have a name, but we need to
Okay.
workshop that.
Indeed. Because yeah, we're getting further afield now, so are we more into the Romance languages, or
For the town,
Mhm.
probably the plateau, and probably even the forest. They're still gonna be named.
Kind of prime settlement,
Probably,
isn't it? So
yeah. It's still a wall settlement. It's still gonna have that Latinized
gatekeep,
sort of name.
yeah,
But I would
indeed.
imagine the name, particularly for the forest, is probably going to be something like sort of the Beyond Forest or the End of the World Forest or something along those lines.
Yeah,
Because for these people, there's not going to be any major settlements from the gatekeepers further than sort of this tile.
this is really the furthest you can go. Yeah,
Yeah, before the gatekeepers stop their patrols. All sort of like the roads are going to probably end.
yeah,
If they do continue on, the road's probably going to go down into.
back to the previous snot.
Yeah, it's going to
Further
go
out.
up to like 9 or 5 and sort of enter in at what will be tile 2.
Yeah.
As opposed to really, it might briefly cut into tile 10, but not a lot.
Not a lot. Yeah, I mean, we did name for the town, a name for the mine, or they can share a name.
The mine will probably share the town's name, I find.
Yeah.
Like you got, for example, one of the most famous mines in Britain, which made it valuable for the Romans, was the Forest of Dean mine. It's literally
Of course,
called
yeah.
the Forest of Dean mine.
Yep.
We could call the forest of Dean, the Woods of Dean.
We could.
But
That
we
doesn't
won't.
really fit, so let's not.
Got another type of tree as well, which I'm going to add. Oh, I really like how these forests are shaping out to be.
Yeah, they're nice. They're very nice. It is barrier plateau, so
Latin for barrier. Let me get the labels all sorted and ready. It needs to be Aladdin. I think that was the one we went for.
I think so. That sounds right and looks right. So.
Down there, the outline down to 2. I think 12 is the smallest we could go, and the colour, to begin with, we go into, that's private messages for Volley, we don't want those. Cacastia world building. So we'll start with the plateau and the cities and stuff. That's going to be black to begin with.
Yep.
So, boom.
Easy peasy.
The Great Barrier, maybe? That's less applicable.
Yeah, I was going to go with Obex barrier. Obex plateau.
Obex, like that?
OBEX, yeah.
OBEX.
Which means barrier, obstacle. Also bar, bolt, and latch, but sounds a bit better than
I assume plateau is PLAT and then O. Plato.
That's Plato. Plateau is PLATEAU.
That's sure whoever came up with that. Let's make
That is
my
fine.
life
Yeah, that is fine.
as painful as possible.
Yeah.
There goes up on that.
Obex plateau.
Village.
What are they mining is the first question. Is it metal? Is it gems? Is it
the best way to sort of think about it is if they're mining like a metal, like an iron or something like that. Iron, at the very least, is fairly common.
Yes.
All things considered, it's not like with bronze where you have a few places which produce tin and a lot of places which produce the other metal that's in bronze. So it becomes really difficult to sort of get. So I would imagine that metal mining would almost sort of be handled by be on the other side of the wall. Because there's no point risking yourself for metal or armor when you don't need to. Now, a quarry might make sense, but we've said it's a mine, so
it's a mine. This one's a mine. We could do.
I would imagine
that
if it's a metal mine, it's going to be gold or silver, and if not one of those, then it's likely going to be a gem mine.
Or it's a magical metal mine,
or it's a magical metal mine,
Mythra adjacent kind of thing.
Yeah. But I would imagine like this town's probably sprung up as a prospector town. And that the thing inside there is either a really valuable metal, either because it is magical and or gold and silver, which everybody wants at all times, or it's a gem. and the gatekeeper, and they're selling it back to the gatekeepers for various unique jewelry that then goes into the various house fighting over the gatekeepers. So again, we've got
Yeah.
various big families there, so maybe something like that.
Yeah, I think so. I think let's call it Argenti or Argenti, which is
Okay, spelling
Latin for silver.
R
Because
N T.
that's the one, I think.
Is it literally spelled like that?
Yep.
ARGENTI.
Yep.
Man, Romans just legends sometimes.
A
When it
lot
comes
of
to
Latin
names.
is phonetic. Not all of it, but a lot of it's pretty easy. So yeah.
Town of Argenti.
Town Argenti. So
And then
named
yeah,
after the metal found in the mine, silver, to as a sort of good luck charm. So they found that it was a silver mine, so they called it Argenti, so that it's kind of like a good luck thing to
yeah,
help get more from the silver mine. Um,
Argenti
possi-
silver mines.
Possibly other white metals further down, more precious than silver.
Which
Dot
then
dot
leaves you
dot.
open to do stuff like mithril and stuff.
Hashtag dug too deep.
Oh no, dwarves! It's
Easy quest line there.
the damn
It's like
dwarves again.
we discovered a much more expensive, rarer form of silver. So we had to go deeper, but now there's things coming back up the tunnels.
There you go. So you got the Argenti silver mines,
Mm-hmm.
Argenti under the town, and the Orbex plateau. And I would
Obex
imagine
Plateau.
the little stream here is probably going to be the Obex stream.
Obex stream works, yeah.
Obex Brook. That's how you spell Brook, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
There we go. Obex Brook. So you got the Barrier Brook and the plateau. Barrier Plateau, and then silver mines and silver.
Yes.
Silver mines.
Yes, indeed.
I would also like to note that there's probably a higher than average population of dwarves, goblins, maybe some gnomes, races that like to mine and like shiny things in
Yeah.
Argenti, because they're probably being drawn there.
Higher population of ancestries who like mining
That could lead to
shiny things.
That could lead to some funny moments because you might have to like go to like a bar or something if the door's a bit too small for some of the people.
Yeah, potentially, indeed. Okay, which just leaves us with naming the woods.
The woods and the river, to be fair.
And the river.
The main river.
So yeah, I mean, there's mastodons there, so big horns. Also
Hornhill?
berries, maybe.
There's not really a hill. There's hills beyond it.
What's
Hornhill River? That might work. But yeah,
what horns are the tusks?
Yeah, they are.
And tusk is just tusk.
I mean, they are mystical as well, so
Mammoths and mastodons don't lose their tusks, do they? They don't like replace.
Not willingly.
No.
I was maybe thinking because if it's a cooler area in the morning, you might end up having sort of like a rolling mist, and because you've got the plateau there as well, you might have fairly like a almost looking like a moist chap, you might end up with like a really misty, magical feel, particularly in
Yeah.
the early morning, going into sort of like the middle morning. So maybe something like the mist forest in Latin, or the
Yeah.
cloud forest.
Yeah, let's go with Mist, which is Caligo. Yep, 2 for
Let go.
2.
Hey, don't worry, I had to mess up forest to remind people that I am still dyslexic.
Caligo
uh,
Woods, though, not Caligo Forest.
True, it's a wood, not a forest. So my
Indeed.
failure to pronounce it was to even
Was
do it was not even necessary.
not even necessary.
I would like to extend this down into 7 as well when we get down there,
I think so, yes.
and we'll up the size and we'll up the outline as well. I think Caligo Woods. Boom.
Mhm,
That's everything that's needs labeling for the moment.
it is. So we can
We do.
move on. I also added a note that the berries there, um, turn the tusks of the mammoths and the mastodons red.
Ooh,
So you get
that's an
you get
interesting
red
idea.
tusked mastodons, which are then probably people then hunt them for the red ivory. Anyway,
It's going to be difficult for them to get there because I imagine the Obex Brook. I have an inspiration for this. I need to find it. There's a river
mhm.
in Yorkshire which is known for drowning people, which is why I want because we must protect our mastodon, and there has to be a
Absolutely.
reason why they aren't hunted beyond some fairly transitory tribes of mammoths. So my
Yep.
suggestion would be that they don't have very good access.
Indeed.
Uh, well, at least its presence form the old North Hampshire course. And there you go, Rapids of the Strid. Strid goes from a series of waterfall and rapids within a 15-foot deep channel cut into a local sandstone. The river wharf narrows dramatically here from approximately
Mhm.
90 feet wide just north of the stride. It is especially dangerous as both banks are undercut. So basically, the banks are deceptive of
Mm.
this stream. It's undercut, and if someone falls in, they get pulled under the
It'll pull you
rockwork.
back under. Yeah.
Yeah, and unless and that can become like a really really dangerous thing. So
Mhm.
if the party doesn't pay attention in this
Mhm.
area and don't listen to the locals, what could end up happening is they could go to try and cross this little brook, and then it becomes a life and death situation.
Yeah. Indeed. That
So
would
you've
be
got
not great.
a deep pond followed by rapids and a deceptively small looking river that is
Yeah.
in reality carving out the bottom
Mhm.
under the things, and even stepping close to the river is dangerous because there's a percentage chance that river could collapse and then all of a sudden you're in the river
Yep.
because that's why that particular river in the River Wharf is so dangerous in Yorkshire,
Mhm.
and it's been known to kill people.
Indeed.
Um,
Um. So yeah, I put down that like the mammoth tribes will use the parts of the red tusk where they do have them, traded
mhm,
them as signs of respect or used in like ceremonial weapons and outfits and things like that. But
yeah,
they will not hunt for them particularly.
yeah.
Uh, and yeah, no one else can really get to them. And no one else really out here that is equipped to deal with mastodons and mammoths.
Well, they have to
So,
go either over the brook, which is exceedingly dangerous, or they
mhm.
have to go round into 4, and we'll have
And
to see what's
no one even knows
behind.
what's in there yet. So,
Yeah,
that's also very dangerous.
that's very
Speaking
dangerous.
of, 4 is next.
Yeah.
Now that we've made a note of all of this, so let's find out what we've got there. We roll our first one, which is
Whoa.
planes.
Sorry for any interference. I have got my window open, and because it's warm, and my dad's cutting the grass.
That's right. I haven't heard much, so it's all good. But yeah,
Uh,
number 4 is planes apparently.
Planes. That makes sense because we've got the edge of the forest there.
Edge
and
of the forest over there.
It does make it more easy for people to get round into that forest. But my suggestion
Mm-hmm.
is that because of the Obrex Brook and the big river sort of guarding Argenti on that side,
Mm-hmm.
most attacks are going to come from the woods by the tribesmen or from the tiles further up here. So this would be a good place for maybe a gatekeeper fort.
Yes. And yeah, we've got no other particular landmark or anything there, which just means we can do what we want. So
yeah,
pop it in ourselves.
So we'll find that's boulders. That's a wall. Where is it that I had nice? Gotta remember where I had the was it coloured town? It was coloured town. So we'll have a couple of things. I'm just gonna make a fort here quickly.
Did we not name? Did we not? We didn't name the fort in Tile 3.
We did. It's Fort Primus.
I mean, we named it, but we didn't put the name on the map.
We haven't done it either for the other one. The for Opportunist Fort.
No, we haven't. Or just Opportuna, actually.
I can go back and do that at any point if needed.
So it's just like we've named, like,
pretty much everything
towns
else.
And like landmarks and stuff, but we've not named the actual like fort things for some reason.
Yeah.
We'll have to go back and update it, but they're not right now.
So we will also position the fort in the lower half here. It's a bit too small. I don't think so. I think it's going to be a
reasonably sized.
Smaller fort there with 3 towers, a curtain wall, and some stables out the front.
And this, of course, is Fort Secundus.
Hey!
Because it's the second one.
True that. Boom. And also a road going past Fort Secundus and off into Tile 5, which you can start doing now.
Indeed, Tile 5. Give it a roll. We get a 19, which is going to match the previous hex.
Okay.
Including another 1, so a landmark.
So we've got the hills stopping there, so that's a proper plain tile fully.
Yep.
We've got the path, which I will do now. It'll be a much smaller path. Coming off the mines, going past Fort Secundus into Tile 5.
Where we have some kind of landmark.
Landmark. A singular hill. That's 2 hills.
That's 2 hills.
A singular hill, which has a singular large Christmas tree on it.
Okay. That's certainly unique. And it's just called the Clarus Hill.
Who was Clarus? What did he do? You'll have to find out next time.
It just means famous hill.
Yeah.
The hill, but maybe Clarus was a person. That is the question.
It's inspired by... Actually, that's a cool idea. Maybe further down we have like a little crack in the wall and there's just a singular tree growing out of it to reference an unfortunate incident that occurred here in the UK a couple of months ago, where someone had a shocking lack of respect for local customs. But yeah.
More plains. Road continues through. Contains a single hill and single tree. Okay. So that is tile number 5.
Hmm.
Is
the
that
most wild that gets up there.
yeah? Indeed. Is that a good place for us to stop, or do we
I think we go till 9,
go to a 9? Sure. Okay.
and then we'll do the bottom half in a separate thing.
Indeed, because we've already done 8. So
Yeah, 8's basically already done.
and
There's
bits
a
of
little
7
lake
are done.
a deep lake for the start of Obrix Brook. 7's mostly done. It's forest plus Obrix Brook plus the main river.
Yep.
6 is half done because on one side it's steppe. It's just what's on the other side of it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean I
Um,
rolled same as above, so that's step. So on the other side we'll roll again. We're gonna roll that again.
I would suggest it's going to probably be something different.
Aquatic.
Aquatic. We'll have another tributary river coming in then,
Indeed.
I think. And we'll have that one come from 19 and trace the border, I think.
Okay.
Actually, no, if it's coming from 19, it could be coming from the underground lake and the underground water system.
Yes. Yes.
So that river then emerges
Mm-hmm.
in 19.
Yes.
Means it's probably coming this way and then heads through 15, through 11,
Mm-hmm.
and joins up with 6 there.
Did we come up with a name for the main river?
We haven't come up with a name for the main river. Or
this tributary?
this tributary, but yeah, that's it. And then we'll just say that the rest of it around there is like plains.
Mm-hmm. More steps at the top.
So you've got
Large.
step at the top on one side of the river, and then grassy plains on the other. Although, actually, I do have sort of plan for 11 because I'm thinking another settlement in 11,
I think that makes sense.
and then maybe some farmlands in between these two here.
Yeah, indeed. We've done a bunch of landmarks. Let's re-roll that one. 18. Okay, so it's just there's just a lot of water in tile number 6.
Yeah, with some farmlands.
And maybe some farmland.
I'm going to do some farmlands.
Farmland extending from 11.
So there's a big farm, and that farm's going to have some wheat.
Indeed.
Me. So a big regimented wheat farm.
Yeah.
With put that back to normal. With a couple of worker houses on the river and a water wheel. And then we'll have a settlement down in 11 at some
Sure.
point.
Yeah,
I think.
we'll figure out 11 next time. So yeah, tile 7.
It's the woods on one side, and it's going to be possibly more farmland on the other.
Contains Obex Brook.
And Obrix Brook.
Dangerous. Okay. No, I'm gonna read all that. That doesn't really work, I don't think. Well, that's match previous hex.
Okay, so it's more planes.
More
Does
planes.
it have any features other than just being a plane?
It does not.
Okay, it's literally just a plane then.
So where does 9 connect to? That's
9
somewhere we
will
haven't built yet, isn't it?
Yeah, 9 will eventually collect. It's the second to last one because part of 14 will also connect to 2. So 14, 9, and 5 will connect to 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then 14, 18, and 23 will connect to 3, which we have already
Yeah.
created, and then 23, 22, 21, 20, and 19 will all connect to
To 9.
9. Yeah,
Yeah. To 8.
to 8. Yeah.
But
Um,
otherwise, I think that's us done.
yeah, I really like how that top area is sort of gone out.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on there.
Mhm. Absolutely. So we need to come up with a couple more names for some rivers, which we'll do next time. Um,
Got
along
one
with
river that will kill you, one river that's too large to ford, and probably I'd imagine this river is also a fast flowing and not really traversable river.
yep,
And the reason I
exactly.
say that is it then gives protection to these two towns. They're probably some of the least raided towns.
Mhm.
They've got a fort on the side where they are going to get attacked.
Yep.
The settlement, whatever it is that we have in 11 or
Mhm.
12, is going to be protected by its natural location and also
Yeah.
riders from Opportuna and Fort Primus anyway.
Yep.
Probably the most safest area, so you're probably going to get a lot of hamlets, villages, small farming operations in between a lot of these.
Yep.
To help
Quite possibly.
feed Argenti, because I'd imagine that Argenti as a sort of boom town is probably not going to have too much in the way of set up agriculture.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's mostly there for mining, whereas small villages and towns were probably before the mining rush, and
Mhm.
this bridge was probably only built. Would have been built fairly early on, because I suspect the bridge and Fort Secundus probably predate most of the settlements.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
Okay.
they probably built that beyond that, but Fort Secundus initially, when it was built, was probably a scouting fort for that further expansion up territory.
Mhm.
Whereas, and the bridge was just to connect it.
Yep.
Whereas the Argenti silver mines were discovered after that, and then they all came in and started mining. And Fort Secundus has taken on more responsibility, perhaps too much responsibility. Which means that the fort itself which is supposed to be protecting, sending riders out over there, is maybe too focused on guarding the silver mines, which means those tiles are more susceptible to raiding.
Quite possibly. Quite possibly.
Then we've got that lovely wooded area, which is definitely my favourite wood so far.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna be
nice.
using that strategy when it comes to evergreen forests. At
Mhm.
least up until we get to more northern latitudes, or
Yeah.
higher latitudes, where it's going to become basically all evergreen.
Yeah.
But for there, I think it's a lovely sort of area. We've got some cool world building with mammoths and mastodons.
We do.
More mastodons in this tile than mammoths, but still.
Still.
Um,
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I think that's where we leave it.
That is where we leave it. We've got more bits and pieces on that to do. Even in the tiles we've done, we need to go back and, as you said, add a couple of names to the previous tiles that we forgot. But apart from that, we'll leave this one here. So thank you for listening along, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.